Today, we are going to install the CURT True Course sway control system. This is an electronic sway control that utilizes the trailer's brakes to proactively control the sway. Now, the big advantage of this unit is the fact you don't have to take it on and off. It's easier setup, but it is going to be a little bit more of a permanent installation. Today, I have my good friend Connor with me, and he is the retail product expert. Connor is going to walk you step by step through the installation. Connor?
Thank you, Ian. Appreciate it.
Take it over.
So for starters today, you want to make sure that your trailer is nice and level. We want to go ahead and put our wheel chocks on. Give yourselves a little bit of room to work. Now, you don't have to have your tow vehicle here, but it's a good idea to have it within reach because we're going to be gauging the distance for our electrical plug. But first things first is we're going to take our sway control module. We're going to go ahead and mount it up on the frame. So here's an overview of all the tools we're going to need to complete our installation. As you can see, most of them are fairly basic. We don't need any specialized tools. Just your standard set of gloves and safety glasses as we will be drilling into the frame. We're going to have some diagonal cutters as well as some zip ties to clean up some of that excess wiring. We have a paint marker to mark the holes, and then we have a punch and a hammer. That way we can ensure that our drill bits aren't going to walk. Now the next thing is our actual drill bit, so we're going to be using this to drill into the frame. And then last but not least, we have our impact driver, and this is going to allow us to secure those self-tapping screws. But that's it. So we're at the front of our trailer here. We have our sway control module. We need to go ahead and mock up a place on our A-frame here to mount this. So a couple different things are going to vary depending on what trailer you have. You may or may not have this bracket here. Now the instructions state to mount this thing road facing, so we want to make sure it's on the outside of the frame rail. Now you could mount it on the passenger side, but it's going to be like this and it's not going to make much sense. It's going to be a lot harder to navigate your cord to the front of the vehicle. So the driver's side makes the most sense for us here. Now, again, you're going to have some obstructions here depending on what type of camper you have. We want to make sure that we position this as closest to the coupler as we can because we need to make sure that this is going to reach our tow vehicle. So this spot on our frame is going to appear to be the best place to mount this. You want to make sure you don't go too far back because, again, we still have to reach the tow vehicle with our cord. And you also want to take into consideration other components you may be installing, such as a weight distribution system. A lot of the times the brackets are going to clamp on the frame and this would obviously interfere with that. So just make sure you pay attention to that. But we'll go ahead and mock this up now. A couple different ways you can do this. If you have some clamps handy, you can go ahead and just set it on the frame, clamp it in place. Then you can mark and drill your holes. If you don't have a clamp, that's fine. What we can actually do is we can use a pencil or a paint marker, and we're going to mark each of these 4 holes. And then we'll take this off there and we'll drill those through. Before you mark your holes, you want to make sure that this is sitting level to the top of the frame. Make sure it's not pointed down in one direction or the other. So we're going to go ahead and set this up on the frame now and mark each of our 4 holes. So now that we have all of our holes marked, we'll go ahead and remove our sway control unit. And you can see a small yellow dot on each of those. But now that we've got that done, we want to make sure that we have some safety gloves on as well as some safety glasses because we will be drilling into the frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a punch tool. Now this step isn't required. It's just going to help our drill bit guide through the frame smoothly. We don't have to worry about it walking and missing our hole and not being able to line up our device. So what I'm going to do is on each of these 4 holes, I'm going to take the punch and I'll make a little divot in the frame there to help use as a guide for our drill bit. Now that we have our marks made, we're going to be taking a 1/8 inch drill bit and we're going to be drilling through each of those. Try to drill into the frame as straight as you can. We'll take our drill bit and we'll align it with the divot we made in the frame. Now we want to make sure that we're putting pressure on there so your drill bit does not break or slip to the side. You can start in reverse to get it started, and then we'll switch to the forward motion and drill the rest of the way through. Now this is an enclosed trailer frame, so we don't really have to worry about drilling through and into something on the other side. But anytime you do drill into your trailer, you need to make sure you're aware of what's on the other side of your drilling. The last thing you want to do is drill through an electrical wire or a propane hose. So now that we have all of our holes drilled, we can go ahead and affix the sway control module to the frame using the 1/4 inch self-driving bolts that come in our kit. So this may be easier if you have someone to help you hold this up on the frame while you're drilling it through, but you can certainly do it yourself. What you're going to need is a 3/8 inch nut driver and an impact. So I'm gonna go ahead and place the screw onto the nut driver. Most of them are magnetic, so it'll hold the screw on there. Make it a little bit easier. Just go ahead and line it up as best you can. Try to look for your hole there into the frame. We'll start the screw and we're gonna put even pressure on our impact here to drive it in. Now, one note is you do not want to tighten this too much. If you tighten your screw too much, you'll strip out the hole and you'll have to make an entirely new one. So we want to make sure that we're very careful when we get down to the last couple threads and go very slow. So we've got them all secure. I'm going to go ahead and just grab a hold of this. Make sure none of them are loose. Now, another issue you have with over tightening, not only can we strip out the hole, you could actually crack this plastic bracket. So again, you need to take extra precautions when you're tightening this, mainly the last 1/4 inch or so of your screw. So now that we have our sway control device mounted properly, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the 7-way coming from the trailer and we're gonna route this to this plug here. Now, we can go ahead and plug it in, but we are gonna have some cord management to do because we have quite a bit of excess slack here. So what I recommend for this is we're gonna take some zip ties, which are not included in our kit, and we're just gonna secure our wiring. That way it doesn't fall down and drag on the ground. So once we plug in our trailer to the module here, we should see this green light, and that's simply going to indicate that we are getting power to the True Course. Next step is gonna be to attach it to the vehicle. So now that we're plugged into the vehicle, you can see here we have a little bit of extra slack. Now, you may have more or less depending on where you mounted your module. What I'm gonna do is, I don't wanna zip tie this since we are gonna be moving this. I'm gonna go ahead and just loop it around our jack here. And you can see that fixes our problem where we don't have any excess slack, but it's still secure and easy to access. So we went ahead and hooked up to our tow vehicle here. We wanna go ahead and ensure that we have power going to the 7-way. Sometimes your vehicle needs to be running for this. Sometimes you can just simply plug in. Once we do so, we're gonna go ahead and download the OneControl RV app, and then we're just gonna simply scroll over until we find the True Course device. Then setup is very easy. We're just gonna pair our device. Once it pairs, we're gonna recognize it on the screen here, select it, simply enter the passcode found on the bottom of the True Course or in your owner's manual, and it's as simple as that. And there you have it. That'll complete our installation.
Really is that simple, guys. 4 easy steps and the True Course is installed. Again, it's a permanent installation. No more having to worry about taking it on and off while you're at the campsite. Connor, thank you so much for showing us how to do it. Appreciate it.